My beloved child, when I begin to unveil the things I have promised, do not view them as a performance to draw the world's attention. I do not act to satisfy the curiosity of the crowds, nor do I open doors merely so people will marvel at your life. Everything I do is, first and foremost, so you may know that your Father is faithful, that my words do not fall to the ground, and that what I have spoken in secret will one day be revealed in the light. There are promises you once held on to with tears, prayers you whispered through long nights, and seasons of waiting you thought were meaningless, but when my time comes, you will look back and understand that not a single stretch of the journey was wasted. God is not a man, that he should lie, nor a son of man, that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill? Therefore, let your heart rest in this certainty: I do not forget. I am not late. I do not break my faith, and I never lead you through pain without a redemptive purpose within it. There were times you were rejected, and in those moments, your heart hurted as a door slamming shut in your face. There were times delays made you wonder if you had taken the wrong path. There were times others misunderstood, opposed, or abandoned you, making you feel as though those things happened solely to wound you. But my child, in my hands, even what the enemy intends to use to harm you can become the cornerstone for something more enduring. I can use rejection to remove you from a place that does not belong to the covenant. I can use delay to forge you out of your haste. I can use loss to clear the foundation, so that the new will not be built on the sand of old dependencies. My word says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. And those all things include the stretches of road you never wanted to travel. Not because all things are good in their nature, but because I am powerful enough to bend pain into the material of grace. But my beloved, as the light increases, you must walk with even greater vigilance. Do not assume that the season of expansion will only be filled with singing, open doors, and congratulations. As I elevate you to a position of greater influence, there will also be many voices seeking to pull you away from your simplicity in me. Some voices will be harsh and easy to recognize, but there will be invitations that bear the appearance of wisdom, goodwill, urgency, and even spirituality, which internally will lead you away from my will little by little. Therefore, do not make decisions solely because circumstances press you. Do not step out just because others expect it. And do not seize every opportunity just because it shines brightly before your eyes. Stop and ask me. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all, and I will teach you what comes from me. What is merely noise? What is a blessing? And what is a trap covered in a beautiful shell? I have given you spiritual armor, not for you to display, but for you to put on every day. Belt yourself with truth, for without truth, any emotion can drag you astray. Put on the breastplate of righteousness, so that condemnation cannot pierce your heart and pride cannot puff up your chest. Fit your feet with the readiness of peace, so you do not sow chaos when entering the places I send you. Take up the shield of faith, because arrows of doubt, comparison, envy, temptation, and fear will seek to strike you in the new season. Put on the helmet of salvation so your mind never forgets to whom you belong. And take the sword of the Spirit, which is my word. For no word of yours is stronger than the word that proceeds from my mouth. Put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. You do not wear armor out of fear, but because you have been called to stand firm. In this season, I also want you to learn to steward what I entrust to you with reverence. A blessing is not merely what you receive. but also what you must care for properly. Opportunities, relationships, finance, gifts, your voice, your influence, the trust of others, all are seeds in the hands of a steward. If you view them as personal property to exalt yourself, they will become a burden that tilts your heart away from me. But if you receive them as something entrusted from the kingdom, you will know how to use them to serve, uplift, heal, and glorify my name. My word says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. So do not despise how you handle the small things, how you keep your promises, how you use your time, how you respond to those in need, how you manage attention and influence. All of this reveals who you are representing. I want you to remember Nehemiah, a man upon whose heart I placed a burden to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. When the work began, not everyone rejoiced. Sanballat and Tobiah mocked, threatened, and then tried to lure him away from the work with seemingly reasonable invitations. But Nehemiah recognized the scheme and replied, I am carrying on a great project and cannot go down. You see, the one to whom I assign a task must know how to discern what is a duty and what is a distraction. He did not only pray, nor did he only work, he built while keeping guard, trusting me while placing a man with a sword beside the one building the wall. That is the image of the season you are entering, not panicking in the face of opposition, not growing proud in the face of progress, and not leaving your post just because someone calls your name from a place that does not belong to my sending. Learn to say to distractions, I am doing the work my Father assigned. I cannot come down from this wall. As I expand your influence, you must love the secret place even more than the public place. Do not let praises make you forget my voice. Do not let the attention of others become food for your soul. Do not let immediate success make you think you no longer need to fall to your knees. There are those who stand firm in adversity, but fall in the season of elevation because they fail to realize that blessings also require humility to be sustained. I do not say this to frighten you, but to keep you close to me. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Therefore, whenever I place something in your hands, offer it back to me first. Whenever a door opens, step through it with gratitude. Whenever others acknowledge you, remember the one who saw you when no one else was looking. You must also open your spiritual eyes to recognize the purpose in every encounter. This does not mean you must assign mysticism to every minor detail, but you need to live alertly enough not to miss my subtle guidance. I bring some people for you to uplift. I bring some to test your heart. There are doors I open for you to enter. There are doors that open solely for you to learn to discern and decline. There are opportunities that will bear lasting fruit if you step into them in peace. And there are opportunities that will drain your soul if you step into them out of vanity. Ask me to open your eyes just as the eyes of Elisha's servant were opened to see the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around. When you see with spiritual eyes, you will not just see the surface of things. You will recognize my hand arranging, protecting, warning, and guiding. So walk with gratitude and holy caution. Do not take what you receive for granted. Do not let familiarity strip away your reverence. Every blessing, if received rightly, will multiply through you. Every opportunity, if stewarded rightly, will become a conduit of grace to many. Every influence, if placed under my authority, will not puff you up in pride, but will deepen you in love. I do not merely want you to have good things. I want you to become someone who can carry good things without being corrupted by them. I do not merely want you to step into higher places. I want you to stand there with clean feet, an alert mind, a soft heart, and a soul that knows all glory belongs to the Father. The road ahead will have light, but also tests. There will be people coming to learn, but also those watching to judge. There will be open doors, but also calling voices wanting to pull you off your main axis. There will be blessings, but also accompanying responsibilities. Do not fear this. As long as you remain in me, put on the armor I give. Ask me before every choice. Steward what is given in faithfulness, and keep a humble heart. You will not be swept away by the season of expansion. I am the one who promised. I am the one fulfilling it. And I am also the one keeping you on the path into what I have prepared. Stand firm, my child. What I do is not just for the world to see, but for you to know deeply that your Father is faithful. My promises are secure, and my hand is still leading you through every step of this new chapter. My beloved child, quiet your heart and come a little closer, for there are words that cannot be heard by hurried ears, but can only be known by a soul willing to rest in my hands. When the darkness around you seems thicker, when the noise of the world confounds human hearts, do not rush to think I have withdrawn. It is in the deep night that the lamp reveals its true worth. It is in the fierce wind that the tree's roots prove they are firmly anchored to the rock. I did not call you to panic at the shifts of this life, but for you to learn to view all things through eyes washed clean by faith. For my word has spoken, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. You see, darkness may spread, but it cannot swallow what belongs to me. Child, the things shifting around you are not merely disjointed signs of the visible world. The world sees news, upheavals, crises, and conflicts, and calls it the natural flow of the times. But I want you to understand that behind all those curtains, an eternal hand is still guiding history to the destination I have ordained. No dynasty stands outside my permission. No storm exceeds the limits I set, and no day falls out of the book I wrote before you were formed. When you read the words, "The Lord has established his throne in heaven, and his kingdom rules over all," let that truth keep your heart from trembling. You do not belong to the chaos. You belong to the one who reigns over the chaos. I know there are times you look around and wonder why so many things are being shaken all at once. Old doors are closing, familiar foundations are being tested, and voices that were once exalted now expose their inner emptiness. But my child, I do not shake things to destroy you. I shake them to separate the true from the false, the enduring from the temporary, the holy from the compromised. Gold does not fear the fire, for the fire only removes the dross clinging to it. A seed does not fear the dark earth, because the very place it is buried is where it begins to crack its shell and live. So when you have not yet seen the fruit, do not dig up what I have sown. When you have not yet heard the answer, do not conclude that heaven has gone silent. My word reminds you, for the revelation awaits an appointed time. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come. What I promised you does not die in the waiting. It is growing in my secrecy. Remember the story of Elisha in the city of Dothan. When the enemy surrounded them, the servant looked out and saw only the horses and chariots of the adversary, and his heart was terrified. But Elisha did not look through the fear of the flesh. He prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." And when the servant's eyes were opened, he saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. My beloved, there are many times you are like that servant. You see the pressure. You see the blocked doors. You see the darkness drawing near. And you see the opposing multitudes. But you have not yet seen the invisible army I have stationed around you. I do not blame you for trembling, but I am opening your eyes so you will know you never stand alone. What surrounds you is not only trials, my grace surrounds you even more. Therefore, do not let your soul be led by the loud noises of the world. There are calls that make you rush, threats that rob your peace, and images that plunge your mind into darkness before the actual disaster strikes. But I have given you a peace unlike the peace of this world. When my son said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you," it was not a weak word of comfort, but a treasure reserved for those navigating through storms. That peace does not mean every storm disappears instantly. That peace means you still stand firm before the storm subsides. You do not need to react like someone without a father. You do not need to fear like someone without a promise. You do not need to flee like someone without a refuge. There is one thing I want you to hold tightly in your heart. Darkness is not always the end. Often, it is the backdrop against which the light can be seen more clearly. If everything around you were easy, it would be hard to distinguish true faith from fleeting emotion. If everyone applauded you, it would be hard to know whether you are living for praise or for my calling. If the road were always smooth, you would not learn how to grasp my hand on the steep slopes. So when you walk through the valley, remember the words written, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." You were not promised that you would never go through the valley, but you were promised that I would not leave you in it. Now, I am calling you to be a lamp placed in its proper setting, not to boast of its brightness, but so the lost may see the way home. You were not chosen merely to be comforted, but to become a source of comfort. You are not preserved merely to live safely for yourself, but to bring life to places that are drying up. When my word says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come," it is not a word for a soul slumbering in comfort, but a call for the one who knows that my dawn can break immediately after the longest night. Let your lips speak words of healing. Let your hands sow kindness. Let your feet walk in uprightness. And let your life become proof that I am still at work amidst this generation. I also want you to be alert to the small things that seem harmless. Darkness usually does not enter with a loud roar, but sneaks in through the cracks of the doors you forget to close, a bitter thought nursed for too long, a compromise called normal, a tie that distances you from me, but you call a need of the heart. Child, I do not teach you to avoid people out of fear, but I teach you to discern what draws you closer to the light and what makes your eyes accustomed to the dark. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. When you choose purity, you do not lose freedom. You are being liberated from chains decorated with temporary emotions. And finally, my beloved, believe that I am writing a new chapter in you, not with the ink of disappointment, but with the oil of restoration. What you thought was delayed, I can bring to ripeness in its due season. What you thought was buried, I can cause to rise like a green shoot after the rain. The tears you sowed in silence are not forgotten before me. For my word says that those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. Keep walking, but walk with a tender heart. Wait, but wait in faith. Look at the darkness, but do not bow your head to it. I am your Father, your refuge, your unquenchable light. When the night grows deep, remember that my eyes are still awake when the road grows narrow. Remember that my hands are still guiding when the world shakes. Remember that you belong to an unshakable kingdom. I am with you, and the light I have placed in you will not be extinguished by the darkness. My beloved child, there are pains that do not disappear just because years go by, and there are tears that, even after drying on your face, continue to flow silently in the depths of your soul. I do not want you to simply learn to endure, nor do I want you to cover your wounds with a layer of silence and call it peace. I am the healing Father, and where I am present, The broken is not despised. The weary is not left behind. And what was once wounded by darkness will be touched by my light. My word has spoken. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Therefore, when you draw near to me, do not come as one who must hide your brokenness. Come as a child who is allowed to cry in the arms of the Father. I am not afraid of the shattered pieces within you, for my own hands can gather them up and fashion anew. Precious vessel, sometimes you thought that forgetting was the same as healing, but I want to teach you a deeper truth. What I have not yet touched can still silently control you. A sorrowful memory can make you guarded in the face of love. An old rejection can make you doubt your worth. A past betrayal can cause you to build walls around your heart and mistake them for wisdom. But, my child, I did not come to condemn you for defending yourself. I came to unlock the room you have kept sealed for too long. When my light enters, it does not put you to shame, but sets you free. As it is written, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That truth is not just what you comprehend in your mind, but my voice speaking into your depths saying, you are not your wounds. You are the one I love. I want you to remember Hagar in the wilderness, the woman who thought she had been abandoned in a parched place, with no way back and no strength left to watch her child die of thirst. But I heard the crying in the desert, and I opened her eyes to see the well of water that was already nearby. You see, deliverance often does not come by me immediately pulling you out of the wilderness, but by me opening your eyes to recognize the spring of water I have placed right beside you, in the very place she thought was forgotten. Hagar encountered the God who sees her. And so it is with you, in the seasons you think no one understands. I still see you. In the nights, you have no clear words to pray. I still hear your sighs. I am the one who does not overlook a trembling soul searching for life. Gradually, as you simply remain close to me, your heart will be reshaped to the rhythm of my own. The things that once enticed you will lose their artificial glitter, because your eyes will have grown accustomed to a holier beauty. You will begin to love authenticity. Even if being authentic means forsaking convenience, you will begin to treasure purity. Even if purity requires stepping away from silent compromises, you will find joy in obedience. Not because you are forced to, but because you understand that my ways are life. My son said, "Remain in me, as I also remain in you." The branch does not need to strain itself to bear fruit. It only needs to remain attached to the vine. In the same way, when you abide in me, transformation is no longer a garment you try to put on, but new life growing from the inside out. Do not view the moments you seek me as a burden to be fulfilled, for they are the banquet table I set out to nourish your soul. The world rushes you, but I teach you to stay. The world tells you to prove yourself, but I call you to rest. The world measures your worth by achievements, but I look at you through the covenant. There are prayer times you think nothing is happening, yet your roots are silently drinking deep from the water source. There are days you can only utter a few feeble words, yet heaven still recognizes the voice of a returning child. Like a tree planted by streams of water, it yields its fruit in season, and its leaf does not wither. You do not need to impatiently demand an immediate harvest. What I am building within you is an endurance that can stand firm through the great wind. Then you will realize that true healing not only lessens your pain, but also sets you free to love again, trust again, hope again, and walk forward without being dragged backward by the past. The scars that once made you ashamed will become evidence that I walked through that place with you. The memories that once chained you to fear will become an altar, reminding you that my grace is stronger than what happened. My word says, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old is gone, The new is here. You are not renewed by denying the past, but by letting me step into that past and rewrite its meaning with mercy. My beloved child, lift your eyes higher than what appears before you, for if you only look with eyes of flesh, you will see thrones, systems, treaties, economy, and the powerful voices of the age, as if they dictate the destiny of mankind. But I want you to look deeper, to look past the dust of the news, past the noise of debates, past the fragile confidence of humanly erected structures. For my word has declared, He changes times and seasons, He deposes kings and raises up others. And that remains true in every generation. There is no throne so high that my hand cannot touch it, no system so complex that I cannot see through it, and no power so solid that it can sustain itself when its inner foundations have rotted away. You are living in a season where many things that seemed immovable will begin to shift. Not so, you will be terrified, but so you will recognize that only my kingdom endures forever. What humanity calls stability is sometimes just a coat of paint over long existing cracks. There are powers that stood firm through many eras, but underneath were corroded by greed, injustice, arrogance, and disregard for the cries of the vulnerable. I do not need an external enemy to topple what has already betrayed the truth from within. When lies are built into laws, when the poor are slighted, when power is used for self-exaltation rather than service, that very foundation begins to tremble before me. Remember the words written, "Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a disgrace to any people." I am not blinded by outward splendor, for I weigh the motives of the heart, and I will expose what is decorated with prestige, but hollow in truth. Yet, do not rush to call every shaking a destruction, for in my hands, the shaking can also be the beginning of restoration. The world fears when old structures are tested, but I know what needs to be dismantled so that righteousness may have a place to stand. Doors that were locked shut for generations will be opened by shifts no one predicted. Lands, once covered by fear, will begin to hear the sound of hope. Nations, once isolated, will be touched by light through paths no one imagined. My word says that I will shake the heavens and the earth, not for you to cling tightly to the temporary, but for you to distinguish what can be lost from what cannot be taken away. Therefore, when you see an old order tottering, do not merely ask what is collapsing, ask what I am preparing to bring to birth. I want you to remember Cyrus, the king of Persia, a man whom many of my people at the time never suspected would become an instrument in my plan. Before he fully knew me, I called him by name through the mouth of the prophet, and I said, "I will go before you and will level the mountains. I will break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron." You see, I can use even the movements of empires to pave the way for my people to return, rebuild the holy place, and enter a season of restoration. When Babylon thought captivity was the end, I was preparing a decree of liberation through a different throne. So, do not limit me to familiar forms. I can open doors with a hand you do not expect, and I can forge a path right through walls you thought would stand there forever. In the midst of this transitional season, my people are not called to stand by with cold eyes, nor are they called to be swept up in the anger of the world. I am preparing those with pure hearts, sanctified minds, and ears accustomed to the voice of the Holy Spirit, so they may step into positions that previously seemed permanently locked. Some will be seen in public, some will work in closed rooms, and some will simply speak the right word in due season, sign a just decision, protect a vulnerable person, or stop an injustice before it spreads. Do not despise those who serve in silence, for in my kingdom, influence does not always take the shape of fame. Sometimes, one person praying in the secret place shakes the darkness, far more than one sitting in a high seat with an empty heart. When the world searches for answers, I will grant my people a clarity that surpasses natural calculation. Just as Joseph was placed in the land of Egypt to prepare storehouses for the years of famine, I too will place those who belong to me in places requiring strategy, mercy, and upright administration. Joseph was not elevated merely to wear fine garments or a signet ring of authority. He was elevated to save many lives. Likewise, if I open a door for you, enter it with trembling reverence. Do not forget the seasons in the dungeon that taught you humility. And do not forget the nights of being misunderstood that taught you dependence on me. Authority not anchored in my presence becomes a snare, but authority placed under my hand becomes a river of healing for many. Child, the borders of influence will change in ways you have never imagined. Places previously slammed shut against the gospel will crack open because circumstances will compel human hearts to seek a hope that does not come from man. Relationships between nations will be rearranged, and through them, I will open new corridors for the light to enter. But understand this, I do not open the way for my people to enter with a spirit of arrogant conquest. I open the way so they may carry the oil of healing, the bread of life, the word of reconciliation, and the testimony of love. When you are asked about the hope you possess, answer with gentleness. When you are placed near those who are afraid, become peace. When you are given influence, use it like a cup of cold water handed to the thirsty. Therefore, my beloved, do not tremble at the shifting of thrones, nor put your trust in them. Revere me as the one who holds the scales of history in his hands. Pray for the nations, but do not let your soul be tethered to the noise of the nations. Observe the times, but do not let the times rob you of your peace. Be ready to step through the doors I open, but step only when my voice leads. For what is built on sand will not stand forever, but what is built on the rock will remain after every shaking. I am purifying, restoring, making a way, and sending forth. Stay close to me. Keep your heart pure. Keep your hands unstained. And keep your lips speaking the truth in love. Then you will see, amidst the upheavals that bewilder so many, I will illuminate what is enduring, elevate the humble, bring down the proud, and widen the path for my kingdom to shine into the places once shrouded in darkness.